We're live. Degenfounder, how are you doing, my man?
What's up, cat guy? What's going, man?
All good, all good. You're the first. Happy to have you.
Thanks for having me, man.
I mean, like, it's my pleasure, right? I mean, like, I wouldn't say like we go way back, but we kind of go way back. Like, we've been in touch for like, for like the better part of like half a year, I'd reckon.
Yeah, man. So, well, with your grails, who doesn't know you, right? I mean, that's the thing. If you don't know Mr. Cat Guy, like you don't know nothing. I mean, you have the insane most bag I have ever seen coming from a long time DGods holder, which is a collection that I love. I mean, DGods art and brand is just top notch, right? So yeah, we have that common story. We saw
True.
everything happening and all the fuss and the hype and the sad moments. I lived through all of that. So yeah, we have a lot in common, man.
But and you know what, like, and it's a great beginning for like it's like a great common ground, right? Because like I think like from that perspective, being like both a holder and a founder, right? Like it gives you like quite the good mix to like start your own stuff, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like if you love NFTs to a certain point, you gotta start a collection. I think everyone who loves NFTs will think about it at a certain point. Like, should I start a collection? So in my case, the whole experience from 2020 forward, all communities, the tough moments, I mean, they built us up. So it's hard to put in words, but there's just so much love for everyone who's still supporting NFTs. That's my way of seeing this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, maybe, I mean, like, dude, like, to be honest with you, like, it's so easy to just like start just like having like this awesome conversation with you, right? Like, maybe like let's go back like one step, right? Like, first of all, out of the blue, you hinted or like you proposed to basically give away like some NFTs, which is absolutely awesome. 3 Karoots and 1 Rogue will be given away at the end of this stream, right? We're gonna post the questions to you at the end of the stream as well, like which are linked to those. I just wanted to make sure to highlight that so like we don't like leave anyone out. But yeah, I mean, like, you're completely right on where to start. I'm not sure if I would agree with like starting an NFT collection. I don't think that's the path I'll be walking within this journey, but like I'm happy to have like to interact with like the likes of you who are purists within the space, right? I think like it takes like balls of steel to basically start something like this within like the heart of the bear market, because like objectively speaking, this has been like some of like the roughest bear markets in like any asset's history, right? Like, I would love to know, like, why start like an NFT brand like within like this bear market, to where like liquidity is dry and it's going to be like quite tough to like get yourself like a community which is alive and kicking.
Yeah. So about starting NFT collection, what I can say is any holder must have been at a certain point tempted, right? Because you look at that, it's super cool. You have NFTs, and I've seen so many people that they're at a certain point they're tempted. But On the other hand, it's really, really hard. Not only launching and minting, it's very stressful, the whole process, but also making sure that everything clicks and makes sense. So, and by saying that, getting the right artist to work, getting the right purpose behind, getting an amazing brand and building the community, that's a very unique experience. You won't get that experience by launching a regular startup. And I am very much of an investigator, someone who has been always trying to innovate and investigate new technologies. And at a certain point, you're challenging yourself. Can I do that? Can I succeed? Can I build this for the long run? So there were different driving forces that really took me to take the leap of faith. But I think I have this a crazy builder mode that I need to get things done. So maybe I can say that that was my impetus to get Rogue started.
I mean, like, that's commendable, right? Because like, fact is, without like people like you in this fashion, like, we would not have like this new wave of NFTs coming in, right?
Yeah.
I would love to maybe like at a later point get back at this, right? Because like the big question in all of this is kind of like, where's the horizon at, right? Like, how do you compete with like these behemoths within like the space, like if we're talking like DGods, Matlats,
Yeah.
like all those ones. But maybe like that's a little early. Maybe like let's dig in on like the journey itself, right? Like the builder mode, like the urge to get things done. What are some of the things like in hindsight you wish you would have done differently?
Yeah. I think in life there's a lot to come to my mind with that regards. But
Sure.
on Rogues, the whole story behind Rogues, I mean the backstory, I see it, and I know this might not make sense for part of the audience, all right? But I'll just tell you exactly my vision and feeling behind this. When I first started Rogues, that was I had Rogues in my drawer, literally, in 2021, end of 2021. So 2022, there was a concept and I was always thinking about it. I think I got the handle there. Then I got the handle early enough. I got to double check the date exactly, but the name and the concept, they were already there. So all my files, they were on this name, Rogues, which I always thought that's a perfect name for a collection. And again, I'm pretty much a builder, so this is what I do in life, right? And we can dive into that. That's a whole other session. But when I started the Rogues movement and I really took the leap of faith of contracting, of hiring Ataú, the artist behind, Rogues became a movement that I couldn't stop. All right. So it's not something that I could say, oh, I'm just gonna not do this. I'm just gonna not mint it. I'm just gonna not make a post. Like, things started really happening around me and myself and only me, because you're finding people that enjoy the brand, that really, really love the art, and it becomes this unstoppable force. And it's different from pushing as an entrepreneur something that is completely new and you're just yourself in a basement doing stuff. So I received a lot of inbounds, a lot of people saying, this is amazing. I love this. I love the brand. I love the art. I love the concept. I love the motto. Dude, this has to happen. No, there's no going back. and then comes the push towards mint. And the push towards mint, I've been through worse, right? But it's really hard. The team, how the team behaves post mint, and to get things in order and make sure that the community is around. But what we did that was really, really successful was not giving any expectation before mint. Then you're going to have an IP. The art is going to look amazing. And we're a community that vibes. So those were our grounds for launching the project. And, to your question, it's just so different from, I'm going to launch a startup that does this and that. And once I get to this metric, I will be building more. I was kind of forced into this unstoppable force that became a community that shares the same passion that I do for the project.
Gotcha. I mean, I can only, I can only imagine that, that must be quite special to be a part of. I mean, it's obviously it's you, right? But at the end of the day, as you mentioned yourself, it's not just you, right? It's not it's something which is in motion, which like a ball which keeps on rolling, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, there comes the whole vision about what are NFTs, right? And you ask, more pragmatically, we are in a very tough moment, whereas expectations are also so low that anything you ship, is something, and
Hell yeah.
you can take time. You can take time off, and you can be quietly building. And this is actually what I'm doing now.
Well, I mean, that's the interesting part, right? Because we are, I mean, if there's a place and time to basically dip your toes in the water of NFTs, then you want to do it when the market is silent and speculators have left and collectors are stepping in, the new purists are stepping in, right? We're probably at the depression stage of NFTs, but that would also mean that we're probably, I mean, any day now, right? And without speculating on price action or speculating on whatever, we do see a sentiment shift to where people are starting to hoard for their community again, right?
Yeah. So the problem with everything we think about NFTs is market cap, right?
Sure.
Either market cap is too high or market cap is too low. We haven't been through a moment where maybe that is not the topic anymore, and the topic is what is really behind each project. Is it just art? Is it just a brand? Is it just giving you the rights to using the IP? Or is there a utility? So, and we have several examples in the top traded projects, right? So in the end, my bottom line also, as a project founder, my bottom line is what is Rogues, right? What is Rogues and Caroots? What are these two collections? In the end, I love browsing for NFTs, right? We're pretty much addicted to browsing for NFTs. So you're looking into trades, you're looking into combinations, you're seeking for rare combos, right? And is that enough? Why would you collect Pokemon cards? Are you collecting Pokemon cards because you think they're getting even more expensive? Or are you collecting those because you want to say you have a specific card that you love or that you had as a kid and then you lost it? So I think NFTs has this um, pretty much long-term value that we might look back 5, 10 years from now and recognize projects that kind of made it. And even if it's only for the art and the community and the brand. Um,
So if you would basically like reflect that on Rogues, like what would be the answer to Rogues in that sense, right? Like because like for I mean like we like discussed this like just before like we went live, but like this is I mean like in my opinion, like what does the art mean to Rogues, right? Like is there more to like Rogues than just the art? Like is it the is there utility, is there something in the works, like is it basically a Pokemon card, or is it like somewhat of a utility play, or like somewhere in between for like anyone who's tuning in who has never basically been in touch with Rogues before?
yeah, absolutely. My my perspective, we have two big pillars here. One is how do you deliver a flawless, handmade, generative collection with an amazing brand and a community um, to become something for the future. Something that, as I keeps hitting my mind, is how do you turn this into an unruggable project, right? Because I'm, as you are, from a generation that we've been through several rugs. I mean, for
Oh
each
yeah.
10 rugs, each 15, 20 rugs, you got one nice hit and, you didn't even stick around, right? So this coming from an NFT OG, if I may say this, man, it's all about finding the right traits. It's about finding an art that stands. And the amount of work that we put into building this art, and I have to say, every time I look at my PFP, and this is why I'm wearing my PFP because I'm actually doxxed, it's like, it's fucking dope, right? I mean, the broken glasses, there's the spacesuit, the background hits really hard. We have the X-ray skin, um, and we can dive into skins, but it's a skin that I personally love, and my OG D God that I held for a long time, and I still hold it. Is a supernova X-ray skin. Um, so,
Why don't we
anyways,
like take this time to like if you don't mind me, like I'm just putting
yeah,
up like the Rogues, and so people can I mean like kind of like get like a grasp of what you're referring to, right?
yeah. I mean, take the balaclava as an example, right? Um, the balaclava is a trait that Ataú really landed well, from my perspective. It's super rare because we have very rare traits. There are two balaclavas that are the same in the collection, only the mouth changes, and that's like an Easter egg. Like, you can show that if you want. Like, check out those two. They're side by side on the right hand corner. The balaclava is a
Um,
dope trait. Like, you see, there's two identical NFTs. One is listed and the other not.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, only the mouth changed in this generative one, which was a fun fact. I mean, that's quite of an Easter egg. You can see traits. One, I think, is a smile. The other, I don't remember. Uh, but the balaclava trait, I mean, it's so unique, and Ataú landed it so well. And for layering, it's a very problematic trait. So,
Mm.
yeah, super problematic. Because nothing goes on top of the head. Anyways, like underneath, it's hard to fit the eyes, but you gotta make it stand out somehow. And we do have a complexity to the collection. But if you zoom in, like look at the shades, look at the amount of details,
True.
and if you keep zooming in, you start seeing flaws. So Ataú's line, the way he draws intentionally, there are mistakes. So you can find several things that will not please you in his trait when you zoom in, and when you zoom out, it's just perfect. So I discussed this characteristic with him, and it is his style. And that's something that I admire in him, because basically, from coming from a street graffiti style, Ataú does a very organic electronic trait, you know. So we got to amazing discussions about trait, Ataú and I, and this whole process was extremely rich. Like, look at the monocle, look at the reflex on the monocle, or
Wait, let me
whatever
let me
trait.
get
Just pick a trait you like.
I mean, like, you know, you got like I'm a 1 out of 1 guy. Like, do you mind like zooming in on some 1 out of 1s?
Yo, let's do it.
I mean, like, you know what, like Degenfounder, like this is probably like the time. I told you this on beforehand. Like, I wanted to talk about like your 1 out of 1s, because like your 1 out of 1s, like there's something to it, right? To where a lot of them do not seem to be like taken just yet, right? So can you elaborate on that? Because like this is kind of unique within NFTs, and like I'll tell you this much: if I were to have like a 1 out of 1, I mean, like it would look very much like this one. I mean, like holy shit balls, it looks good.
The briefing for that one, that is DNavigate's 101. DNavigate, he, during the project, we made an initiative that was the proof of rogue work, and he crushed eggs on his forehead. So he made this Oni teeth mask looking rogue, and he gave a full briefing for the art. We had a couple of back and forths with Ataú. I intermediated those back and forths. So basically, up until now, if you have one of the 101s, you'll basically open a ticket in our Discord, and I'll get Ataú to hand draw following the Rogues guidelines. So still in our mold, but you have a huge degree of freedom.
Man, I mean, like there's some crazy ones out there. I mean, like we both know
You know
Pixel
that is,
Rainbow,
right?
obviously. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
So
like
Pixel Rainbow is
we're
someone that I admire him so much, you know, coming from an NFT holder perspective. So I asked him what he wanted, you know, how would he want it to look. So this is what he landed. With the discussion that I've been intermediating, you know, just so that Ataú gets a more homogeneous demand, I send him like a very clear briefing based on what the holder requests. And some of the briefings, they're like, ask Ataú to go crazy.
I mean, like, you know what, like you cannot blame me for like at least trying. I mean, like I'll have to get my hands on, like we got to get like a cat 1 out of 1, right, sooner or later.
I agree, my friend. I agree. We need that. That would be so dope.
I mean, like, so I'm not gonna bore the audience with like what I would do, but like I'm telling you, Degenfounder, like this one would seem mild compared to it. But like, I mean, like guys, like anyone like who's interested in like art, the fun part to it, and like NFTs, like the curation and like the collectability of things, right? You got like, are they subjective? Are they to be disputed? You either like it or you don't. But I mean, like, it's very, very, very specific. Like, it's very different. It stands out. And whether you like it or not, that's for you to decide. But like, you are definitely filling like a niche, right? Like it's all pretty much like apes, bears, and I mean like not on like okay bears, right? But like we all ape, we're bearish, we're bullish. How did you get to like the rabbits?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So it's not that I have a rabbit farm, neither that rabbits have followed my life, but when doing my tech stuff, not only Web3 stuff, tech stuff, when people ask me, oh, what are you up to now, right? What are you investigating? What are you building? I always answer, man, I got into this rabbit hole. So my phrase
Mm.
has been starting with that phrase now for over 5, 8 years. Um, this one was the first 101 drawn. This guy, he won our first 101 very early in the project.
It's
He
a cool
disappeared.
one.
He left Web3, I guess. Eventually they come back, you know. But that's
True.
like that was his briefing, like to have this radioactive, almost about to burst type of containment rogue. Um, but basically, where was I?
The
Yeah, so
rabbits.
the rabbit, man. Oh, the rabbit. So there's this, and then I was like browsing animals, and I love OK Bears. Like you mentioned, OK Bears, the simplicity of their art is just damn so good. So I've always tried to collect OK Bears. Paid super expensive at a certain point. I went through the whole ride because I tried minting OK Bears and I couldn't. So I bought them, flipped them, bought them, everything on the first day on secondary. And then I said, I'll just keep it. So I kept for long, like 2 bears. And then I saw the whole process that Kai's and what's the name of the co-founder? Um,
Uh, is it Drims? Drips?
Dreams. Kai's and Dreams went through. I have a lot of respect for Kai's because I managed to talk to him, and he's another builder. He's trying his
Oh
best.
yeah.
That's what I can say. So
I mean, like I'm having Kaisan like in the following weeks as well.
nice, nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good guy. So, dude, like the rabbit, and then I'm thinking PFP, right? As I mentioned, I had the project in the drawer, and I started discussing with Atau. I said, Atau, I have this name, Rogues, and gotta choose. Is it gonna be a human? Is it gonna be an animal? And then we started thinking about rogue animals, like wolves, and every animal that could be rogue. And we came down to a list like fox, rogue, um, even rabbits, obviously. So I made a very long reflection, and my Chinese horoscope animal is the rabbit. So I said, you
There you
know
go.
what? Follow the fucking rabbit. Just follow the fucking rabbit, bro. There's no
True.
rabbits and we need a rabbit. But then we came to this problem, and this was the big puzzle for the collection, which are the ears. So our PFP stands exactly at the midpoint of the image, right? Typically,
Mhm.
eyes on a D gods or other collections, they'll be at 2/3 or about
Yeah.
2/3. So how could we build a brand on a PFP that would have the eyes a bit dislocated from what you're used to seeing? And this is where kind of the Mickey Mouse vision came, where if we manage to land those ears, that they become really known in the ecosystem, this is a brand that is going to own a spot, and it's going to be the rabbit spot. So I'm being, inspirational and technical, but it was I think it was 4 months of discussion, to be very honest, with Atau. Once we landed the PFP, things really started to roll.
I mean, you know what? Like at the end of the day, right? Like good things take time.
Yeah. But it
I'm
was
just
such a pleasure to build a collection with Atau. It's a satisfaction that I will tell my grandkids.
what was the I mean, like, maybe not too long because like
No,
I'm
yeah.
loving like the deep dive into this, but maybe like can you summarize what made it like that good?
You mean the PFP?
No, I mean like the collaboration with Atau.
Oh, Ataú is Latino. He's from Colombia. I'm from Brazil. That's a first. Second, Ataú built Primates, and I think Primates is also one of the best art on Solana.
Oh yeah.
Ataú has a very cool style when it comes to graffiti. So, and I always thought he was the GOAT, right? He's the greatest of all times. I want to support him. I want to make sure that someone builds something with his art and turns it into an unruggable and historical piece of Web3. So the Back and Forth with Ataú, they managed me to assess his brain and see, how he would come up with solutions. And for each of those one-on-ones, you see, he managed to just deliver amazing solutions. Like, look at the Joker. The Joker has so much personality. I mean, and it's a rabbit. So, yeah, that one. Dude, I mean, the briefing was amazing. The Joker, the holder, he's an amazing guy. Has a lot of vision. But like, look at that. How cool is this PFP? Right. So
You
when
gotta.
you when you get
Sorry.
an artist to bring that to land, like, dude, it's the best feeling in life.
I get that. I mean, like, also like the detail, right? Like, part of this channel is that we gotta allow ourselves to just like nerd out a little bit on these things, right? And the fact that like the snooker ball, I'm lost for like the English translation to this, but being used as an eye, right? Like the let's fucking go rogues,
Yeah.
on the gun, right? Like, and this is what I believe is like what sets apart. I mean, like, let's just call it like it is. Um, there are some shit tier collections out there, right? But like, if you zoom into the art, um, this is where like the curation part like brings you such joy as a collector, right? You can like zoom in and it just like looks so unbelievably cool. Because at the end of the day, like this is how you see it when you're just like browsing it, right? But like you cannot get to like the fun part of it until like you really zoom into like the details of the art.
I'm super biased towards Ataú. Eventually, we see an opportunity to support his work continuously down the line. And then you mentioned, some empty or still to be made one-on-ones. I'm being patient. I'm allowing oxygen to flow through the collection, and this has also helped me also on my mental side for the project. But at a certain point, and it's not going to happen too long down the line, I'm gonna call holders to wrap it up. So we won't postpone much because we want to have the collection fully completed. We are going to be making 1 year since mint on April 17th. So that's a hint, right? Maybe close to that date. We're going to say, guys, we got 30 days.
Ooh.
Yeah, because my vision for NFTs, all right, is, and we have spoken only about brand art and community so far. We have to deliver, and this is a commitment, a very well landed collection. There are a couple of details to our collections. The one-on-ones are the most obvious ones, but there are smaller details that we're now working on as a community. For example, we do not have an incredible amount of skins or furs, because what happened is we were pressed, and the complexity of the ears with the complexity of the eyes. And if you choose a specific eye trait, you will see that eye trait changes according to the fur. Made Ataú take a bit too long for each fur. So we might add, not increasing supply, but this is a bit of the gamification we're doing within the community. And I'm calling this just entertainment, where we're going to be able to change once the fur of any NFT, not the one-on-ones. So basically, you have a white rabbit that looks super cool, but you want a very exclusive fur. We're going to offer that. And then once this phase is done, and we as a community think that we have enough number of furs and everything is well-rounded in this collection, I want to be at the inscription ready point, right? I don't know if inscribing a collection could still be a thing, but from principles, given that I was also a lot into ordinals very early in ordinals, I think this could be eventually a way of saying this art now is immutable, never going to change. What is done, and let's move to the next phase of the project.
Fair. Can you already say something about like next phase of the project, or not really?
Yeah, absolutely. So the community knows we are working behind the scenes on that, and Caroots came as a fun way to allow rogues to tangibilize the carrots that they were farming through staking, right? So there is a lot to what I just said, and there's a lot that we're still going to do about what I just said. But the Caroots comes, as I've always said, a burnable layer. And yet, the art had to be cool. As we build the lore, and not sure if Jimmy is in the audience, but Jimmy, on your screen, he's the one to the right, red background, the last rogue. That's the Jimmy. Jimmy is such a creative guy. And our discussion was, with the burnable layer now, what stuff can we do and how creative can we get? And Caroots, because we built a whole lore in animatics that has already been released, but we should be teasing again because it's a very cool lore. They're obsessed about youths. So it was a fun discussion. Like, we're going to have a second collection that is obsessed about youths, So there are some youth traits in the Caroots traits, kind of a copied traits. But in the end, with those two collections, we have enough of a flywheel to burn Caroots, deliver stuff, perks and stuff. And people know we have a lot of prototypes in terms of merch and things that we're going to be shipping, further down the line.
So basically, Caroots kind of would be like used within like burn mechanisms?
Yes.
I mean, like, you know what? Like, Degenfounder, like that's the one thing I do like about like what I'm learning with about like rogues right here right now, right? Is that like you seem to be taking like parts of like other NFT collections without like overdoing it, obviously adding your own special sauce to it, right? But at the same time, like whatever features are working, you also like include them and apply them to your own collection, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying my best, and I'm always learning from other founders. And as I've always said, like if we take the NFT history as a perspective, like how much Frank D. Gods contributed to the ecosystem, we lived through a lot of FUD as holders. Whereas that's what you get if you have a founder that is innovating recurrently and swinging for the fences. And this is something that I've always admired a lot on Frank, is he commit mistakes, but all mistakes that he did is because he was trying really hard to just go for the home run, and I think from his style, you can learn a lot of what worked, and from other projects, you can also learn a lot of what worked. And, I cannot say that we did not innovate. We did managed to get a lot of attention during the bear market. That was super intentional, but it was also a consequence of aesthetically standing out. So
Yeah.
I understand that sometimes if you make a very good delivery several times, and you manage to be recurrent but also patient, you can outstand. So I know that it's not easy to get to the top spots on Solana. Whereas I've also learned that patience and persistence, they typically lead you to win. So with a lot of
True.
patience and persistence, we might keep seeing rogues, and then you keep seeing rogues, and you say, yeah, these guys, they're always there. What the fuck, right? And if you manage to phase these stages, as I intentionally have been doing, sometimes the community will live through frustration because now, we needed a breather to clean up the house internally. And it was also very welcoming because technology has been shifting so much over these last weeks. And the next deliveries, they will satisfy the community, and then community will be happy again, and they'll be saying, yeah, we finally got to this. So you empty that apprehension, but then there's the what's next. And this is the thing about NFTs, and this is what leads to failure, right? You always have to be able to deliver a what next. And if you don't time those things well, that's mistake number one. If you're always doing the what's next, you're also gonna fail. So
Yeah.
phasing what we have in mind, which gets to the end of gets to what you asked, to the second part of your question, a handful of minutes back, is basically yes utility. And then the yes utility, this is a whole package that I want to unpack at the right time with the right effect on perceived value for the collection.
I mean, like, I think that makes like a whole lot of sense, right? And I think like this also like is part of the journey, whether people like it or not. This is what makes it like kind of like both a collectible and like a little bit of like a speculative asset as well. Like, who are we
Yeah.
kidding? You can choose to like speculate on this, right? You can choose to basically buy this because you would anticipate like these future moves to be resonating really well with the market. But also
Yeah.
you can just buy it for the sake that you are like, you know what? I kind of want a fucking wolf fur on top of my head and rock that as a profile picture, right? There's no right or wrong, right? And like that's the interesting part about like being part of this amazing industry we're in. I think like this is the best collectible asset there is, period.
Dude, honestly, I couldn't agree more. All right. So basically, if you own the Howling Rogue, now I don't remember who owns it. Sorry, dude. Man, I forgot about but I know it's a super cool holder. But the Howling Rogue that you just had on screen, like that's an art that fucks really hard,
Oh yeah.
really hard. Art doesn't get any better than this. I'm sorry, it does not. Get the hell out of here. If you think you're ever gonna see something better than this, all right, just go home and do whatever you gotta do. I'm not gonna say any bad words. But this is like it's as good as it gets. Use it as a PFP with pride because this is an amazing piece of art. And as a founder,
True.
my not a priority, but my obligation is to make sure that they stay alive for the long term. And as a PFP holder, as an NFT holder, you'll be like, dude, this is mine. All right. No one is buying it.
True.
No one is getting it because it belongs to me. And this is what I love about this space. And my NFT, like, I know my NFT has complexities of itself. Like people will say, dude, it's super rare because you got an X-ray, you got the spacesuit, you got the BG. My story with Rogues, man, I didn't even mention this, dates back to when I led a subDAO among primates for spacesuits. You know, so spacesuit holder, you were just for being a primate spacesuit holder, I sent you rogue spacesuits, you know? So several
Nice.
holders got those spacesuits. They were super happy about it. Some of them flipped, some of them left, most of them kept. And in the end, you're like, yeah, because this is ownership, right? You're attributing a very cool piece of art, something that me as a founder, I did my best, Atao did his best. And we think that just for holding that piece of art, you should be happy. And then what comes next is what you just mentioned, is those waves of delivering, of having tangibilizing this expected value for the community of what is going to happen now, right? So if you're too noisy all the time, that is definitely not good for the project.
Yeah, you want to make it count at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And I think like as anything in life that comes with like balance, too much like
Yeah.
noise just makes you noisy, as you say. And I think like it's even worse to not make any noise to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean like just like a point of reflection real quick right here, Degenfounder. We're in the heart of the bear market, and like right now, right here, like 150 people are tuning into this. Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
Dude, that's crazy, man. I'm not looking at the stats. I'm just looking at your beautiful disguise.
Am I beautiful? I mean, like, trust me with this one. The disguise is. It's better to look at the disguise than at the face, because you know what? At the end of the day, right? And this is just the truth. Who cares about like what we look like? It's about like appreciating the art, right? And like what we have to say, and basically potentially affect those, and maybe like get people curious on like why digital collectibles might be like a new hobby to start at to begin with, right?
Absolutely. And the reflection is, I know the the average holder age and generation might be more anxious, but my wife, she holds this folder full of Pokemon cards, and dude, she has a couple of Charizards. You know, problem, problem. She played with those. You know, they were a toy.
Sure.
She has some commemorative Pokemon cards that were handed out during movies, like 50, and she got one. Like she was such a Pokemon
Nice.
nerd, and that's like 20 years ago, right? So 20 years
Oh yeah.
ago, and then over 15 years of holdership, almost zero value, and then all of a sudden there's a perceived value, and there's like this massive sales. Like you look at Logan Paul's sale, right? Suddenly value is back, and I think that NFTs, they also have this old whiskey thing that over time, if we founders manage to kind of stay there and do the homework, become a respected brand, you know, have an edge, eventually they'll be like, dude, I wish I had a Rogue, man. How
Oh,
how
oh
much
yeah.
did you pay for your Rogue? You know, and this
True.
is a matter of time as well.
And I mean
NFA,
like
all right, NFA.
I mean for sure, right? I mean like to anyone who is tuning in, like you're listening to a guy uh sorry, one sec. You're listening to a guy calling himself cat guy. Like you should not get your financial advice here, but you should definitely get here like if you're interested in uh um sharing this passion. Like it's about like the collectability of things. It's not like, hey, like how much money can we make of this? I'll tell you this much, like my own personal thoughts is that we are in like the peak depression stage, right? That is when the market tends to be boring. That's when like there's less like uh movement in the market, right? Like very much like boring sideways chop. But what we're seeing also, right, is like a sentiment switch, and where speculators have left, right? People are like, it's never going to be a thing anymore. But at the same time, collectors are stepping in, and whether you like it or not, bottoms are somewhat forming, right? Like, 1 second. Bottoms are forming, and like this might be the bottom, this might not be the bottom, but like at the very least, we're at price levels to where people are like, you know what? I've never been able to get myself a Matlat, a D-God, a Klenosaur, and right now they're kind of cheap, like historically speaking, right? So why not? And like having said that, these are like some of the projects who might be like the new blue chips around the block, right? I mean, like Degenfounder, like just stating the obvious, um, a lot of hurdles ahead with like any beginning project, right? To get to like that kind of like blue blue chip status phase stage, whatever you want to call it. But fact is, like the market is right there for the taking, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So about the not financial advice, this is not financial advice, but this is artistic advice, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
we on NFTs, like we can as holders enjoy the fact that we own a digital asset that can be historical, right? And I think this per se is already a huge value that my daughter just got in.
that's
So
very
we
important.
we can say that. I'm sorry, guys. And then
Yeah, no
when
worries.
the bottom hits, I mean, as a perceived moment, which we are now, um, I understand this is a moment of collecting art, you know. So on the other hand, I'm also very, very respecting of financial moments. People might need liquidity. Sometimes I see that classic FUD in the Discord. Oh, this holder just left and sold his rogues. Been so long here. Some people get liquidated. Some people need the funds. Some people have health
Yeah,
issues. In the end, that's the beauty about having a liquid asset. Because if you have a painting on the wall, you might not be able to sell it. But if you have an NFT, you have a whole market and you have attention and you can sell those. So I think only this, Kekai, combined with the art, is already something that after the bear will come to evidence.
for sure, for sure. I mean, like, to basically respect your time, right? Maybe, unless if you like, feel free to tell me like if you want to like extend or whatever. But like, let's just like respect the timing for now. Let's potentially get to like the NFTs, which were one, and like the questions attached to that.
Yeah. So absolutely, man.
Okay, cool. I mean, like, so basically, Degenfounder was like kind enough to basically up the stakes with like this interview, with this stream, with this live session, if you will, right? Therefore, like 3 Karoots are being given away, and 1 Rogue winner, right? And like the Karoots winner, like the first one is Nepafy, with the simple question, like, what is your favorite trade in the collection?
I'm super biased. That is a straight spacesuit. I will be always a spacesuit kind of holder. So spacesuit for good.
Let's zoom into that like real quick.
And all spacesuits, they were handmade.
Oh, there
Meaning
you go.
all combinations I did myself. I wanted to make sure that spacesuits would have an amazing combo. So that one, I thought about Sensei, five 527 hats. Like the guy loves football, so I said, yeah, we need a football. Even the eyes combined, because those are the eye
True.
black, So yeah,
Nice. I mean, Nepafy, send me a DM with your wallet address, and I'll make sure that the crude gets to you. Second one, by Debs Chadet. What is Degenfounder's favorite NFT project other than Rogues?
dude, that's so hard. I had phases, I did have phases, and I am a holder of different projects that I actually love. So I could mention several, but to try to answer you precisely, I will always be a Primates big fan. Big fan. The team who is now behind derugging the project, not even a rug, but like the team took over because it was a super friendly thing. They're just chads in the space, people that I respect a lot. They share a lot of love for the entire community. So I will always be a Primate. Always.
I mean, fair enough. Let me see. Yeah, so should that send me a DM with your wallet address, and we will make it. We'll sort it out. The last one for the Karoots is Svenmeister88. What would you say holds more value to an NFT collector? So, like the art itself, or like the community/brand it belongs to?
I think it's the art. As I mentioned, I put a lot of effort into the art. I put a autistic level of attention that you have no idea what I did to land Rogues. And I still saw a couple of flaws after we minted that we corrected.
Sure.
So I gave so much value to the art, and yet I gave enough artistic creativity by Ataul that I didn't interfere in a couple of traits that I didn't really like, but I thought, there will be taste for those. So yeah, man, I think what we have here is something that when we get to AGI, when the AI thing, like 2 years from now, it's not going to be obvious to find handmade generative NFTs. And I think we will look back and say, dude, these collections, they really stand out for humanity, honestly. And it's about the art.
For sure. I would say though, and like I think like you make a lot of sense. Like there is also like a counter argument. Lily NFT to where like that was like the first one which got me into NFTs, to where like the founder just said like, you know what, guys, like I am burned out. I'm going to take a hiatus and like have fun. I'm not going to work on this project. And like it bled out like no tomorrow. So I do kind of feel like it's interesting food for thought, but like probably fact is like you kind of need both, right? Like you kind of need like a team doing things with the royalties, and like the art needs to be like top notch, right? I think I do kind of feel like DGOT's like right here, right now, and like the team is still alive and kicking, but like they did have like a lot of like internal reshuffles with like Frank leaving. That's probably the only NFT I know which is like as carried by the community as it gets, right?
Yeah, I agree, and I try to be objective on the answer, but the broader answer is there's so many moving parts to an NFT project. It's so complex that you cannot compare to a regular startup project.
No.
Yeah.
I agree there. And I mean like to finish it off with, this is like the the question, like I find like really interesting, and I think like it's definitely like worth winning a rogue. It is from 0x Jack the Menace. Jack, like send me a DM with your wallet address and we'll sort it out. Degenfounder, from your perspective, what is the real state of the NFT market right here, right now? And what challenges does it create for projects like Rogues trying to build and grow within these conditions?
I want to be provocative. We're dead, and what is dead will never die. We're just dead, man. Like, we're all dead. We're so fucked, honestly. Like, life was so easy in 2022, right? So it's so hard to compare. If you're going to be relying on only the NFT factor to survive, you're absolutely dead, and you're not gonna make it to the end of this tunnel. And this is why builders should keep a distance from the FUD and the pressure, and make sure that they're targeting at their goals that will allow projects to survive through the current state. So I think we have been now for a year and a half, if not 2 years, in a very bad state for NFTs in general. I think this is also consequence of the overhype. That's one of the over farming or excessive rugs on NFTs, and then further liquidity drainers coming from meme coins, and all the hype that we saw kind of evolve with pump fun, and the meta in the ecosystem is always somehow to drain the liquidity. So the consequence is, here we are now. But if you look at Web3 in general, most of the service providers, things didn't change. Their tokens are at lower market cap, they're still building, their volumes are up, they're processing revenues, and NFT projects that manage to muddle through and build their thing. I think we have, again, not a financial advice, but this is a very interesting moment, not only to become and be a holder, but also to build.
I mean, like,
you gotta survive it, man. It's a moment to survive, right?
I mean, like, we're here, we're surviving, right? I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, I agree so much, right? Because, like, rather than just like being sitting out there waiting for your assets to like appreciate in value, this is also like the time and place to basically invest within the space, right? Like, be it in monetary value, but like also in time. I mean, like, look at what we're doing like right here, right now. No one is like video streaming like NFT content, right? And it's not hard. Like, there's just no competition, and the market is right there for the taking, right? Like, there's so much to do, like so many people who still are passionate about like what we're talking about. I mean, like, again, like Degenfounder, like, there are nearly 200 people tuning in after 1 hour. Isn't that
this
nuts?
Is amazing.
Aren't
That's
we
nuts. That's so
I mean,
cool.
like, it is kind of cool, right? And we are supposed to be dead.
Yeah, I mean, we died as NFT, as a class, as and now what we're doing here is we're surviving, and we're building communities, and we have community members that are sticking around, that they want to be part of something. They trust that eventually there will be a comeback to NFTs. And this is also, we spoke about a lot, and thank you so much for the opportunity for being here, man. You have been like really a breath of fresh air for so many projects, and bringing the vibes, and really keeping your project going, your channel going. I think the whole class needs it. The holders, the founders, peers. So really, you're spreading so much inspiration just by doing what you're doing. So I'm really thankful. And if we're patient enough, and this is always the challenge, is how long can you stay liquid, right? Or until the markets turn. So we have to be patient at this moment. And sometimes overhyping when everything is down is just a waste of money. And me as a project founder, I want to make sure that when the moment is right, we also make the right announcements. So a lot of, being an NFT holder is having the cards in your sleeves for when the moment is right, making the announcement, releasing stuff, and making sure that you're also getting a piece of attention. And hopefully, attention in general is just going to grow larger by the end of this year.
That's true, but like Degenfounder, like at the same time, I do kind of want to say, like as a collectible nerd, do you want to like buy your Charizard like at the top, or do you want to like buy it before like the market starts booming to enjoy like the march up, right? Like, I mean, if you're let's put it like this, right? Like we are trading at like all-time lows, right? And like even though like we've already broken out versus Solana, like people are not talking about it, but like it's true. If you would ever were if you ever were interested in NFTs, right? Why not now? Just like holistically speaking, like why not throw some beer money at this stuff right here, right now, whenever no one is bullish, the market is dead, infrastructure is being reduced rather than expanded upon. Historically speaking, these are like the moments to, take a jab at these things, right?
Dude, I couldn't agree more. I think fun fact is I met my wife in 2010. I wish I would have looked at her card collection and said, I'll just double down on that. Gonna buy a couple of Pokemon cards.
True. Yeah. To close it off, like if anyone, right, and this is not from the if anyone who's tuning in, and like we're over 200 people right now, again guys, like we're supposed to be dead and 208 people have tuned in, right, are like currently tuning in.
That's so cool, man.
This is probably like the hardest, this is probably like the most engaged with stream I've had so far. And
that's Rogues, man. That's Rogues.
Let's fucking go Rogues. True. But like, why not right here, right now? And like, I'll tell you this much, right? Like, the one thing I did not really ask, but you know what? It does not really matter. At the end of the day, like, how do you compete with like the blue chips within the space? Who cares? Blue chips right here, right now, with like proven track records, with like proven communities, are probably the safest bets, right? But at the same time, in order to get like a good image of like what does this industry have to offer, I do think it's extremely important also to shine a light on like the new projects who might just be competing for those top spots, right? Like who knows, right? Yeah. Just some food for thought on my end, and I basically like that's basically why I find this just like super interesting to just like be a part of, man. Like, thank you so much,
dude. Just maybe to like address your point quickly before we go. I think the answer is you do not compete. And let me elaborate on this. I'm a very competitive guy, in everything I do. So I've done a lot of cycling, like really hardcore stuff, like the semi-pro type of stuff, right? Where you're days in the mountain, whatsoever. But I'm a very good sprinter. Like my stats for sprinting, I go deep as dude, I can't explain. So like I used to have a very good trainer. I would beat him during sprinting, all right, and he would get pissed because he was he was the PT, right? Like he's like training a group, right? Like he's the badass guy, but he wasn't good at sprinting, even though he was much stronger than me. But when you're sprinting, like those, let's say 30 seconds of sprint, you go into your pain cave, right? And you gotta find a comfort zone in your pain cave. And that moment is a moment of extreme focus. Like everything around you does not make sense, but the pain that you're digging in to overdo yourself. And I think that by overdoing yourself, you might also overdo the competition. And when you look back, you're like, oh man, they actually think I'm competing with them, but I'm not. I'm just winning. So it is about, there is the competitive approach, but I wouldn't be targeting specific projects. I'm a humble guy. I love all of those communities. I try to be a holder and all communities I can. I'm not very active though in everything aside from Rogues. But it is about really trying our best in the projects. Myself trying my best in the project that I lead.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, like, let's just like close it off at that. Just like one more time. The Kahoot winners, Napa _Phi, Daps Chadets, and Svenmeister88. Send me a DM at the NFTcat _soul on Twitter. The Rogues winner, 0x Jack the Menace. Send me a DM with like all of your addresses and let's get it sorted from there. Just so you guys know, no DM, no NFTs. Like I'm not gonna DM you. Degenfounder, like I think like this was absolutely amazing. Like it's been like so much fun. I mean, I kind of feel like we can just like keep on continuing like for hours and hours and hours, but I'm sure like within this year we'll have like another chat like very much like this one.
No, this was amazing. Thank you so much for having me, and really appreciate what you're doing for the ecosystem, my friend.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you guys for tuning in. And let's fucking go Rogues.
Let's fucking go Rogues and Kahoots.